Hey everyone, this is Wade Keller with MyRaisedBedGarden.net, and today is June 3rd, 2012, and today I was out spraying some organic fish fertilizer on my raised bed garden, and thought to myself, it's been about a month since my last garden update, so it'll be fun to compare some images side by side to see what a month has done. Now that I'm interrupted. That's okay. Okay, so this is a view from backyard looking at the house, obviously, and the garden. We'll compare it to a side-by-side image here. Before and after. But, you can see how much it's grown. Let's walk up here and we'll kind of go through each individual area here. On this bare area here, I had started some herbs, some cilantro and sage and whatnot, but it's been a really warm spring. So what I think I'm going to do is not much came up, but we've got some small ornamental pumpkins that we're gonna plant here very soon, so they'll be ready just before October, or right during October. But these are two tomatillo plants, and they have sprung to life quite a bit. They've grown probably at least 2 feet in the last month, so looking forward to some tomatillos there. That's my dog Zane. Zane, sit. Oh, you're such a good boy. Lay down. Lay down. Oh, you're such a good boy. Bang. Oh, good boy. Anyway, one thing I know that I've done is my tomatoes are a little too close together, and I haven't been pruning them a whole lot. I figure we're going to see what happens this first year. So I've already gotten probably at least 18 of my Illini Star heirloom tomatoes that are already starting. You can see a small one right in here, if I can get the camera to quit wiggling. But that's just one of a cluster. There's actually two there, but there's actually 4 tomato plants in this area that, as you can see, I've got some pretty cheap cages that were actually left here from the owner of the the house that we bought it from, so we're just using those this year. But moving on, there's probably 6 or 8 tomatoes in there. But next we come to our peppers and some other huge tomatillo plants. But I've probably got a dozen or so peppers of different varieties going on here. You can see a pepper right there. That's a Thai pepper, I believe. Should be fun to get those ready. I've also got some bell peppers and some jalapenos in here, but these will be some of the jalapenos right here. That there's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 jalapenos on that. I've got some other peppers in back there that have a few fruit growing on them already. Here's another bell pepper. You can see some fruit growing in on it. And another bell pepper that's getting ready to set some serious fruit. And another bell pepper. I believe these two in front are orange. big bell peppers. There's probably half a dozen at least on this one. That's a red lipstick bell pepper there. And then some peppers in back that don't get quite as much sun, but they're still starting to set some fruit as well. But the big thing is when I planted these, this is typical first year mistake. I obviously didn't mark these correctly because I could have swore up and down these were bell peppers, but they turn out there is 1, 2, 3 huge tomatillo plants planted here way too close together. I'm going to go around the other side and show you. The white moth. Try to get it. Those things, I believe that's a cabbage moth that actually wiped out my cabbage and my broccoli. But you can see some of the husks, actually quite a few husks, to get that leaf out of the way, that are forming on this tomatillo plant. So we're going to have a ton of tomatillos. So a little different view here, some peppers, but this thing here, that's cantaloupe. If you remember from last time, it was 1/10 that size. It's exploded. I'm going to get it to go as vertical as possible. In between here, those smaller plants are ground cherries. My 2 zucchini that I'm growing up through tomato cages. Again, these things have exploded. This one I don't think has set any fruit yet, but this one, I don't know if we can see it. You see it back in there? It's got at least one, if not a couple, fruit setting on it already. My Swiss chard, another random tomato plant that I had sitting out. Then I figured I better get in the ground. And this is where I just pulled my broccoli that got decimated just the other day. So I've got some ideas for next year for the broccoli to help with the cabbage moths. If anybody has any good tips on how to deal with those, feel free to leave a comment, because that would be great. So that's the front bed. So you can see again, exploded quite nice. Really all I've done is use rock dust in the soil when I first planted and transplanted. I also have been spraying compost tea about every 2 weeks, and then alternating with some fish fertilizer, spraying directly into the ground. I don't know, about every 3 weeks or so, on and off weekend when I'm not doing compost tea. So I'm also just using soaker hoses that if my weather station does not show any rain, I've been keeping track. If I get less than an inch a week, I'll run the soaker hoses. But outside of that, I haven't been watering but once a week for long term. So next bed, the lettuce that didn't get planted early enough that I've been coming out and just snacking on. In the front here, in the next row back, you'll see all the carrots are starting to explode up nicely. The peas are starting to flower, which means I'll be getting some pea pods here soon, which is exciting. My corn is definitely nice and tall. Here's an example of what a cabbage moth will do to cabbage. Dang things. So probably need to pull those, but what harm are they doing right now? If the cabbage moths want to get to them, then let them get to something they already have. Plus, it's kind of an experiment to see what happens if I leave them in. And my whole row here of tomato plants, I've got the Illini Star and Jujube cherry tomatoes planted together here. My beans in back, they're actually poking through and running through the tomatoes, so whatever. I've done sun trimming on them, especially down at the base to try and keep them off the ground. But outside of that, it's been tomato overload. But some onions are doing well. I got some underneath here that aren't going to do much, but you can see there's definitely some nice tomatoes growing on here. And then up here you've got some cherry tomatoes growing, and there's a bunch of different tomatoes in there. This is red kale that has started to rebound a little bit from the cabbage moths, but we're going to leave it in, see what happens to it. And then some herbs on the end, some basil that I need to, been trying to prune back the flowers, but I'm probably going to have to pull it and try and store it. But man, it smells delicious. So, and then back here you've just got some pole beans that are starting to get a little crazy, and I've probably not supported them enough, but we'll see what happens. The beauty of gardening, you kind of learn and adapt. So, then the last thing we're going to show you today is, if anybody's been following me, you'll know that I stumbled across here in the backyard what I thought was a cottonwood tree this spring is actually a cherry tree. We had some cherries already, so I was out here today looking at some stuff here in the back. I've got some flowers trying to grow in this little bed here, but what you'll see is I've got, pretty sure these are raspberries, so, but the couple that lived here before me had a nice little garden going. It wasn't a raised bed garden, but they had some stuff left over, obviously, and some raspberries along the back fence, so we're happy to have them. So that's it for this week, June 3rd, 2012, garden update. Looking forward to really getting to harvest here in the next couple weeks some tomatoes and little peppers, and maybe not peppers, but whatever is ready. Peas, definitely. So until next time, hope everybody has a wonderful gardening experience, and I will see you later.